All right, I think we are back recording again now. All right, this is kind of where we were on Tuesday. We were doing the bike and we played with the idea of it going vertical and playing with it horizontal. And today we're just going to add in a couple other items. Again, if something comes up, throw in a thing on the chat or just kind of unmute yourself and chime in and we're going to go from there. So a couple things I want to go through is just kind of a little bit of playing with some gradients and where and how they can be utilized. When you look at your color swatches, you're going to probably see a few of them already built in. There's like a black to white and an orange to yellow, and then a fading sky, they call it. And there's a little vignette, which has a gradient going on. So I'm going to click on this background here. I'm just going to add a orange to yellow gradient, as you can see. So I'm going to show you how to adjust these, but I'm going to also show you where you can find additional gradients and show you how it doesn't need just be on the background here. I'm going to apply that gradient here to the bike in just a minute too. So if you don't have the gradient tab showing up in your toolbars here, go to Window and hit Gradient, and you'll get this window popping up. Now this is showing the gradients that are preloaded into the computer. This is the color, and you can see the colors here. It goes from red to yellow, and then these are in between colors that you can do, and then these little diamonds are where you can adjust how it changes, so how it transitions or where it transitions from, you know, darker orange to a lighter yellow orange, and from a yellow orange to a light yellow. So you can adjust that here, and you'll see it over here as I'm moving this, how it's adjusting that actual gradient itself. Okay, so you can totally play with these adjustments to make it go one or the other. And again, likewise, you can take out elements in here. So you can add to these, you can take away, and you can actually change it. So I'm going to click on this last one, which is the red, and then I'm going to go over here to my color palettes. Okay, and I'm going to select in here, double click the red, and then we can select our color. So let's say we go to purple. So you can see that purple was added in there. Likewise, go back to that red that it was. Go somewhere around there's a purple, it's kind of a magenta. Here's a white, gray white, here's a green, here's a red. So you can see where you can actually change the colors of these, and you can actually adjust those out, and you can add those other colors in. So it's very, very easy to kind of make an adjustment to a gradient that you want. Now, other things that you're going to probably want to do with a gradient is potentially load some additional ones. So yes, we can make up our own gradients, and we can change them. So here's basically a quick one. This is going to be two color. Okay, so a blue to blue with a transparency built in here. Okay, but let me show you where the other ones are. So if we go under the library here, under swatches, you see the little library icon, click on that. And this is how we, again, get to our different color palettes. And this is an example of a color palette. Here's the foliage one. Here is the earth tone that we showed the other day. But you also notice in here there's a gradient. And then we get a bunch of other, and you're going to say, look like, oh, they're duplicates. Well, they are, but they're going to be gradients based upon those things. So if we do a gradients foliage, here we go. So we can see they're in the greens and the kind of a tree kind of color. So again, you can pick colors here that you think might work. Okay. Now you're going to go, I like that, but I don't like the direction. So here is where we can do things. We can pick that gradient, make it a radial. Okay, so we're coming out of the center. Here we're doing a diagonal. That's going to go. And again, you can see where we can adjust that gradient here by rolling over where that is. So we can make it lighter, darker, lighter, dark. And likewise, we can move it in and out here. We can also play with that circle. Okay, so we can make kind of an oval, okay, or round, and we can adjust the size of that circle also. So you can see there's a lot of adjustments that can be made with a gradient. Likewise, you can change it here if you start to go more of an oval with. If it's a circle, changing the rotation really doesn't do much at all. Okay. But you can change position of that by simply grabbing it and moving. Okay. So gradients are going to be pretty powerful to use. And I think it's something you should consider, maybe potentially for this logo, or your business card, or potentially other projects as you start to work in the design world. So, and as you can see, as I selected those colors, they got added to my swatches up here. Okay, so they're kind of built in. So if it turns out like I don't need this particular color, I'll click that so when I delete it doesn't do anything. If I don't need this color, I can just simply click that color, hit delete. You want to delete, yes, and it'll take it away. You know, one thing you don't want to do is clutter this up too much, but you're going to go through a bunch of colors just trying to figure things out. Okay, so as we get into the foliage gradients, you may go, okay, this one, no, that one's not. So until you actually select them, oftentimes it's really hard to tell which one you want. So until you pick it and go, no, that's not the one I want. That's not working either. That one might be. Let me get that into my gradient again. Again, a little bit dark, but let's say you do like that. Okay, so now we can go to something where obviously the black on this dark green does not work, but we can select the bike, roll over, and because it is a vector-based object, we can come in here and kick in our thing here. We see we're selected our color, our fill, and we click white. And boom, just like that, we've now converted it to white. So again, with a couple clicks, you can see how you can simply change the color. Okay, now it's a blue. That doesn't work, but maybe a yellow tone will work. Okay. That was kind of quite nice there. So you see, because this was a vector illustration, you can see we still had those details in there. It's kind of a line drawing project. And this was basically clip art that I have in my library. But because it is vector, it is completely editable. And obviously the change of color can be put into place without any kind of issue there. Okay, so one thing now, let me go through just kind of making the object a gradient. So I'm going to select down here on this version of the bike, and I want to give that a gradient. So I'm going to actually go back to my orange gradients, and you can see like that we've got a gradient going on that bike. Okay, so when we talk about gradients, they can go on solid objects or solid colors, but they can also here in this case go on a pretty detailed vector. And as you see as I'm scrolling over, there's quite a few parts with it. So because I'm selecting it with the selection tool, I'm able to select the whole object, turn that gradient on. And again, likewise, I can hit the radial. So now it's coming out from the center. And I can also change the angle. So right now it's at a 0 angle, but again, I can make it go vertical. I can make it go at a let me get this selected. There we go. Go back to there, and I can go to different angles. And you'll see it's changing how that gradient works. So now the gradient is working from upper to lower. It's kind of coming along. Select again, change my angle to 180, and you'll see it's changing it back this direction. Someone's coming in. Okay. So selecting that object and playing with those gradients can really create some nice dramatic effects. So in this case, we're going with that gradient. But again, remember we have these other gradients we chose earlier here of the bike, and obviously that one's not working well. We get that really light fade there, but maybe that will work with a radial. Let me see what I can do there. Select again, convert to radial. It's still a little bit light there in the center, so I might want to, that can take the color away. I'm just gonna spread this down so we're getting darker a little bit here. And maybe I wanna change that just a little bit with my color palette. So just doing a little bit of adjustment there. All right. So I think gradients are going to be something you're going to want to play with. Again, you can see here where we've done a nice job of playing with that gradient, doing some quick changes. You can modify these items. Again, going from a radial linear gradient, again, changing the angles. You can see the angles being changed here on these to potentially a radial or a circular where you're coming out from the middle, okay? And again, you can select this little thing here. It pops up and it's pulling up all the other colors that are in that palette that we were just working on. And then just click back to radiate. You can get those there. So I think gradients you're going to find to be something nice that you should start to think about as you're working. And again, you can create these yourself, but know that you have those libraries here for colors. Not only your color libraries, but also you have a gradient library with a huge selection of colors. So, you know, let the computer do some work for you. Look, I've been doing this for a long time and I still go to the color palettes. It just saves time and it gets your mind going and you can concentrate on what's really working and put things together instead of just kind of guessing. Okay, so if I'm looking at stuff and I think that I'm looking at something with more of a metallic patterns, I'm going to click that and I'm going to open it up and just to give me the ideas of the colors that I'm thinking about. Okay, and again, these are colors that can be converted and pulled together. And again, you see they put these little, we'll say subfolders here where these are palette and color palettes that work together. So let the computer do some work for you. You don't need to try to reinvent the wheel all the time on this. So work with that, and again, use the color palettes. It's quite good. Okay, so do that there. And likewise, you can look at things here. So we just did some gradients, and I can look at just gradients by selecting how I want to show things. We don't have a lot of patterns in there. There's a couple that were built in. We do have our colors that were built in, but if you just want to see it, it's getting confusing, you can change how you view your palettes there. And then don't forget too, we talked about this earlier in the semester, the color themes that Adobe has. I think this is a pretty powerful way of kind of working. And you can take these themes and you can download these, save them to your palettes, not only here in Illustrator, but also in Photoshop. So don't be afraid to add the Adobe color themes and go through. And remember, they have, when you hit Explore, they've got a bunch of color palettes that you can start to use here. Okay, so again, when you're looking for ideas, you're trying to figure out color space, these are some nice ways of starting to do that by going through the Adobe color themes. Okay. All right, questions. So you should be working on your logo. Hopefully you're getting it done. Again, send me those files so I can give you comment back. I think I've gotten back to everybody, but I'll double check today with that. Again, we're looking at, I think I said May 4th for this. So we're looking at our logo and our business card design. Looking at the calendar here, yeah, May 5th, sorry, May 5th, we're looking to have this done. And then we'll have one little quick project that we'll finish up the semester with. I believe our official last day of class is May 21. So we are under the 4-week mark. yeah, 4 weeks. 4 weeks from today, we're done. So it's almost summer vacation. So we'll finish that up. So logo and our business card designs. Keep pushing it. Keep working ideas. Send me your progress. I'll give you some comments back on those, and we'll take it from there. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. I'm not going too stir crazy yet. We'll be all through this soon, hopefully. All right. Questions and all? Anybody want to chime in? Anybody want to chat? Everybody doing okay? Yes, no, yes, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Everybody's good. You're still with me. You guys have all blacked yourselves out. So it's kind of funny. I can't tell if you're there or not. You probably like zoomed in and then went and had lunch and came back when I'm talking. But if you missed anything, remember I'll put it up on the YouTube, and I will link it on the website. Okay. I'm glad I'm seeing everybody's doing well. So again, keep working on your logos. Don't stress. We've got another week and a half or so on those, but send me what you've got and I'll give you some comments back, and then we'll get this done and we'll move on to the next project and we'll finish up the semester. Okay. If you have questions about Illustrator, Photoshop, of course, let me know and we can get those resolved and taken care of. All right. Anything else before we are good for today? Audio wasn't working on my laptop. Okay. So I'm glad you're good. I'm glad you worked out that. And again, if you missed something, don't worry. I will put this up on the YouTube for you guys. All right. Anything else? All right, guys. Have a good weekend. Do something nice for yourself, and then we will see each other on Tuesday. All right. Thank you all, and we'll talk to you soon.